say, yes, go ahead. We got it.
Oh my God.
That's who we love and that's who we serve. Sorry I'm late, folks. I'm Alan C. and I got Johnnie J in his house. You're on Innervision FM.
How dare you?
I dare. All day long and twice on Sundays.
Oh my God.
It's running out. Hi, everybody. This is the Godfather, Soul James Brown. I tell you, this business is on. My man is on. Check him out. This is the Godfather, Soul James Brown. And stay with it and hit it. Thank you very much.
Okay.
I got to say, man, every time you start the show with the music and stuff, gets my heart all thumpy, makes it go pitter patter. How's everybody doing this fine Tuesday?
Yeah, it is happening. So I was listening to this stuff last night, and so I decided, well, let's cover some things a little bit of stuff that we did yesterday, because it's still on the minds of the sanctuary city, Mariago, that they shouldn't have sent in daylight all those illegal migrants to this sanctuary city. And then they found people like, okay, different news teams, they will find the narration they want. So we just heard like how outraged it was. But then over on Fox, they found some people that weren't outraged. And they said, we have a sign up there saying that welcome. And then it was an interview with DeSanchez last night, and he said that we gave them information about where they were going. We gave them phone numbers. We gave them all the paperwork they needed in their language before they chose to get on the plane and to go to this location.
Let me just say this, Johnny, really quick. I'm an American citizen. I've been here all my life. I was born here, and I would give anything to go to Martha's Vineyard right about now.
Yeah. Yeah, give me that. Let me go down there to Florida and say, Sanchez, I'm legal, I'm illegal.
I'm illegal. Can you get me on a plane over to?
Oh, well. Hey, like to remind people, like, give us a thumbs up, share this, subscribe. We're stuck at 1,067, and we want to move past that and review some of our old shows and start viewing those shows. And come on, we got to start building up this. I know they're submerging our stuff on YouTube.
Totally.
YouTube.
Totally. We're getting like 1 view or 5 views on certain ones, or 0 views even on other ones. And
right.
I don't mean to be egotistical, but those are good shows. Those are shows that have relevant information, current events, stuff dealing with the United States Constitution, things that are near and dear to the American people's heart.
And we are a constitutional republic. And this morning I heard this guy saying, we got to get the MAGA crowd out of the Republican Party because it's offending our democracy. And I'm thinking, like, who is this guy? You don't even know that we're a constitutional republic, but yet you're talking about getting the MAGA crowd out of the party. I said, who is this person? But
I will say that at Innervision FM, we're as transparent as we can be. And so, people that do support us and people that do enjoy our content should know that this is where we come from. We want to mention our sponsors, Christian Brothers Moving Company from Denver, from Phoenix, and somewhere in the great state of Texas. Right. I keep forgetting all the different places in Texas where these guys are. I want to mention the Denver Art Foundation, Wells Fargo, Colorado Art Relief Fund. One of our sponsors also is Littleton Eye Clinic. There's a guy by the name of Richard Damiano down there. Does a really good job with his work, helping people to receive vision where maybe they haven't had it, or maybe they've lost it. Things like that. You got to check out Littleton Eye Clinic.
Yes.
I miss anybody? Oh,
Nope.
Any
Mini, yeah. Any Mini Grant. That's interesting. I like that name, Edie Mini Grant. But it was pretty good. I think it was a grant for $3,000. I think. Yes, something like that. But it was a nice, that helped us to get our website fixed. The guy charged us like $2,500, so that really helped us getting that refurbished. And I got to check into that. And then I want to update people on my running for House District 5 here in Denver, Colorado. Well, we sent out 50,000 emails. So many were open. We wanted to get a report again. Now they're saying, okay, we touched base with those people, but Johnny, can we charge you more so we could do a little bit more? And I'm thinking like, no, let's not charge me more. Let's see what you could do with what I gave you, and go from there. So
your rate wasn't locked in, or
well,
are
no,
they
it
going to offer you more services for if you give them more money?
Yeah, they want give me like more services, more money, like maybe a little bit more texting. But I'm thinking like they were going for like 50,000 donors and other people outside of District 5. And I'm thinking like, let's just focus in on District 5. It's great that you want to go out there, left, right, and center, but let's focus on District 5 because these are the people who are going to be voting for me. None of those people are going to be voting for me, and they may not even donate to me or whatever. So we're trying to get them. We're going to reel them back in because I have several more email blasts that I want to send out on the 29th of next week, and then on the I'm thinking on the 18th of October when the ballots go out.
Right.
Yeah. Well, they'll be out on the 17th, but they'll be arriving. So I want my name to be fresh in their mind, and so we're working on that.
The 87,000 different IRS agents that have been hired, essentially to go after the rich folks, the 1%ers, those that have a lot of money that might be allegedly, avoiding paying their taxes. That's interesting. That's fine, well and good. Oftentimes what does happen is any organization, they start with a low-hanging fruit first, and then they move up the tree. So with regard to taking donations and things like this, there's something called the Hatch Act. And so I'm curious about your thoughts on how a person like yourself who might be running for House District number 5, who is running for House District number 5, how you yourself will take into account this Hatch Act. Is it legal to go ahead and take donations through your nonprofit?
Well, what I would do is like, okay, if they decide like to do donations to me directly for this, I would just create like a committee, get a separate bank account, and then just report it like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I was getting at is transparency. And we here at Innervision FM, when you donate using paypal.me/InnervisionDenver, your donations are going to go to helping grassroots musicians, disabled or otherwise, or financially challenged folks to get their music exposure and this kind of thing, as well as to fund this sort of talk show that we're talking about current events. If, there's money left over, certainly Johnnie J will be using it for certain of other things, but obviously there will be strictures under the Hatch Act that will have to be followed. And so there's always transparency.
Yeah.
And
right now I'm paying for advertisement on Facebook, which I don't know about Facebook. I don't know if they're just blowing smoke saying you're reaching this many people, but I'm just doing like, $35 a week or something like that. Just a little thing. And then through Google AdWords, even though we got a $10,000 grant for the YouTube videos, I put in, I think about the budget was $140 for that. So I'm putting in like little advertising money here and there. And I even thought about going to iHeart, forking over like $400 and doing iHeart commercials that would run on different radio stations, which the last time I did that, I did it for our artist, D'Angelo T. And I wanted to hear the commercials because it sounded fantastic, but I could never hear the commercials. So I don't know, once again, if they're blowing smoke. Then Comcast, for $1,000, they'll run commercials on sporting events or stuff like that to get your word out once again. So, it takes a little bit of money to get the word out there and then get it out there in enough frequency that, that people will click in its mind, because soon enough here in Colorado, Polis will be cranking out some of his millions of dollars to try to cover up the words of Heidi Goodell. And so we don't have millions of dollars, but we do have some money to kick out there. So it is what it is.
We certainly do what we can when we can and however we can to be for the American people. I think that's the bottom line, is we are part of the people here in America, as opposed to being beholden to corporations. We'll find a way to get something done, whether we got the money or whether we don't. That's the bottom.
Yeah. And right now I got this, we just got registered for sound registration. That costs, Innervision $600 because I just couldn't get the codes, the right codes. They kept kicking me out saying, this is not valid. We couldn't validate this. So I said, okay, these people have been calling me. They said they can get it done. $600. They wanted me to go like 3 years, 600. I said, no, let's see if you could do it the first time, and then let's see what happens then. So I just, and then they said, well, we can even connect you to these other businesses that are connecting with the government entities, and that is $4,000. And I said, no, I think I could. I know enough people. I can just make a phone call myself. So yeah, it gets expensive.
I think you're right. I think that's the big thing, is being connected with people, forgetting the idea that corporations are where it's at. Being connected with your fellow human being, being able to reach out and touch someone, so to speak, as the 70s commercial used to be for a certain telephone company. Relationships is the first thing that in the music business is really pushed. If you don't have good relationships with people, it doesn't matter the kind of money that you put forth. It's truly not who you are, but it's truly who you know in this arena. So it's difficult. But on from the money making aspect, we got some topics. We started talking a little bit about Martha's Vineyard. We started talking a little bit about inclusion. We started talking about that kind of thing. It's amazing that 50 folks were voluntarily relocated with a 2-to-1, almost 2.5-to-1 ratio of National Guard. I would voluntarily leave somewhere too if I had 2.5 people with with weapons pointed at my head, saying, "Can you please leave?" Oh yeah, yes. Out.
Yeah.
See you later. Let's go.
Yeah, and it's like I said earlier, the Democrats were sending people in the night under the cover of darkness, and it comes up, is that the Christian way? Well, instead of us doing it at night in the darkness of the night, we did it in broad daylight.
Absolutely. And these guys did have the choice, as DeSantis was talking about. He very carefully gave them the paperwork in their own languages so that they had a choice. Hey, do you guys want to even do this, or do you not? I mean,
it was it was on the Sean Hannity show. I was watching it. I think it was recorded either Saturday or Friday. But it was, and he had DeSantis on there. So if you just typed in Fox, Sean Hannity, and Ron DeSantis, it'll come up. And I want to get a sound clip out of it, but I wasn't able to get a sound clip because he specifically said specific things concerning, what they did, what procedures they went through, and now they're trying to investigate if this was legal. Well, why don't you just turn those three fingers pointed back at you and investigate if you doing it in the middle of the night was on the up and up?
Well, that's absolutely right, because we do have immigration laws which are just not being followed. And in the beginning of this, the party currently in control was saying, well, there is no crisis. There is no crisis. Go back to sleep, folks. There is no crisis.
Right.
And today we've had somewhere around 2.3
2
million.
million. Yes. Before, and the fiscal year is not even over.
That's right. Well, actually, it just ticked over. The actual fiscal year. Well, doesn't it tick over 1st of December?
I thought, well, the half goes like July, then the December. They say like so far it's been like 2 million, and then they say like it hasn't even closed out in December. So look forward for maybe 2 more million.
That could be. You never know. I suppose we could get another 2 million by the end of the actual year. Yeah,
and the cartel is making bank.
Oh yeah, dude.
3,000, 5,000. You sell everything. You put your daughters on the thing. You give them a bunch of what are those pills that they birth control pills? And if they make it, they're alive, not raped, abused, and tortured, not sold for killed and sold for body parts. If they make it, they're alive. Maybe one day they'll come back and get you, if that happens. And if they're not spending the rest of their life paying back the cartel through prostitution and other sex trafficking themes.
It's a cruel world, and a lot of this is called the scandal-based industry, and a lot of people make a lot of money off of this. We're not here to make money so that we can line our pockets. We're not here to make money so that we could expand our reach. We're here to promote grassroots musicians, whether they be disabled or otherwise financially challenged. We're there to help out the people. This is just a secondary. If we can help somebody in another way, we're going to do it. So we'll talk about these kinds of current events. We'll bring attention to this stuff, and but not for the reason of, well, we need to make more money so that we can. There is a solution. There is a solution, and that solution is located in the United States Constitution, and that's the bottom line. So take a look, read through the Constitution for yourself. Unfortunately, it has been labeled on the National Archives with some trigger warnings and, things like that. So they don't want you looking at your own founding documents, people. That's the important piece to take away.
You know what? This is not on the topic, but I was watching another video, and it was a 4-minute video, and it was talking to these young people about what do they know about 9/11. They were like between 21, 18, 19 years old.
Yeah.
You would be amazed that they sort of heard, and they said, well, one guy said, I heard something in the 5th grade, then in 8th grade, then no more.
Wow.
We got to get better at educating our children here in America, because it's crazy. I mean, I don't know. Okay. I was born. I knew things that had happened before I was born, especially music and stuff like that. And then as information got out there more, I learned more about what happened before I got here on this planet. But it seems like with this generation, if it's not here and now and on TikTok, they don't know about it.
Well, that's the thing is we come from a time where we had to actually literally go outside of our house, go to a library to research the topics which we found to be interesting. Nowadays, we have a computer that is more powerful than the computers used to send the first man to the moon in 1969. We have that right here in the palm of our hands. I'm using a computer right now to talk to you folks on YouTube and Facebook and 8 other different platforms, including Rumble and Getter and Truth Social and some other ones. I tell you, we have a responsibility because of the information that we have at our reach to use this information to help our fellow human being.
Oh yeah, and it's like, man, I really appreciate the things that we have now, because before, I mean, and maybe it dulled some of our survival skills maybe a little bit, because I mean, if I'm walking down the street, I could just pick up my phone and say, where am I? And usually, I would find somebody and say, where am I? And I would have to stop and listen and hear somebody and then ask, and hopefully they are from Denver, that is just not a tourist, or when I was traveling up in Boulder, they know the area. But now, which is kind of sad, because I like communicating with people. I like talking to real people. And my wife likes that too. And sometimes she'll ask somebody, and I think like, oh, I could get it on my phone. But she says, no, I want to communicate with people. And I said, oh, yeah, the old-fashioned thing of communicating with a person.
That's absolutely right. High tech and high touch are 2 different things. And because we've gone into a society where there is indeed all this technology, could it be that we've actually, as a society, begun to lose the need for actual human interaction? I don't know. It's interesting. So, I would say keep that alive, folks. Get out there, talk to your neighbor. In the Bible, it talks about one of the 2 greatest commandments that we are to follow these days is to love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, soul, strength, and to love your neighbor as yourself. And those 2 things, everything else hinges upon those 2 commandments. And so, the idea is that we, in order to love our neighbor as ourselves, we need to be involved with our neighbor at the local, state, and federal levels. Not to make everything political or anything, but
yes.
But yes, so that's why you ran for House District number 5. To be involved with your neighbor, to be involved with the local level to start out with. And I got to say, I commend you for that, because not very many people will actually get out there and run for office, or even these days get out there and vote. Why does it matter? The voting process is perhaps might need fixed, and I'll vote after it gets fixed, or it works fine, but I'll let other people vote, whatever the answer is. The idea is, man, getting involved at the local level, like what you're doing.
Yeah, and I remember the last Republican was elected here in 2012 was the last one, and I remember I met her. We did a fest. I don't know if we probably lost contact at that, but from 2011 until 2014, I was doing festivals at the Llama Park, and this lady, she came out, it was like a black lady, a little heavy set, and he said, "Hey, I'm the House district person here," and she gave me her card, and I said, "Well, let me give her a call." So I kept calling, and no return call. I will put if you call me on that number and you get my voicemail, and I'll leave my cell phone number so you can call me, because I said that's ridiculous. It's like where was she? And maybe it's not the most exciting job, sitting in an office, but at least give a chance for people to get a hold of you somehow if you run for this office,
That's interesting because, the bigger you get and the more power that you, quote, start receiving, the more people want to get a hold of you. And not everybody is kind and good and that kind of thing. And so consequently, what can happen potentially is people hide behind their office, hide behind that power that they wield. And so why stay available to the general public? Because, obviously there are certain unwashed masses that, maybe you don't want to talk with or whatever. But what that does is that breeds what we just saw with regard to Martha's Vineyard. It's always good to have the idea of staying in touch, or it's always a good idea to get the immigrants in there, whether they're legal or otherwise. Just get them into the country, which is America, but not in my backyard. Not in my backyard. And the idea is we're supposed to love our neighbor as ourselves. I mean, that's one of the two greatest commandments given to us by God.
Yeah, and it's really weird that that they didn't want these. Well, they have all these signs up there, and so the signs were just to make them feel good, but when it comes down to it, it wasn't to actually show action. So let your word yes be yes and your no be no. Let your actions speak louder than your words. And so while they're waving the Bible at Republicans, maybe they should open it, crack it, and stop waving it.
Well, that's the thing, because we're being vilified as Christians and being eviscerated by the mainstream media because of the fact that we sent these guys over to Martha's Vineyard. These guys, people don't even realize that there are thousands of people coming into this country every single day, being shipped all across the country. And this is outside of legal federal law. So, the bottom line being is, if we're a nation of laws, we ought to get back to those laws, I suppose, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I don't know, Governor Newsom wants to debate with Sanchez. Man, I hope that happens, man, because eat him up. He has a pretty face, but I have a feeling that there's no substance behind the pretty face. I would love to see that debate. I would love to see Polis here in Colorado and Heidi Goodall debate on October 16th before the ballots drop. So it's fresh in the minds of the voter why he destroyed 40% of the jobs, why he flip-flopped, and then he went and said it's a free-for-all for people that want to steal cars, and so it's now we're number one. But then he went back and said, well, maybe I made a mistake on that, and so he reversed his. Then he made dealing fentanyl a misdemeanor. Then he went back and said, well, maybe you can kill 400 people with fentanyl, but not thousands of people. So let me change it and make this part a felony, and and not so much a misdemeanor. And he just keeps flip-flopping back and forth. Polis here in Colorado, who wants to be the president, and he's a good liar. I mean, I saw it when he was on April 2020, when he was sitting at the table with President Trump, and he said, "Is your state open?" And he said, "Yes, our state is open." And he was just a ball, and you could tell like he was like a little kid saying, "I'm lying to this guy," and he doesn't even know that I'm lying to him. Colorado's not open. I just closed it, and he's continuing with the executive orders. And he just renewed it. It was supposed to go out on the 16th, and he renewed it until the 9th of October here in Colorado. The guy is just a liar, and he doesn't care about anybody except for his own ambitions. And
Amen. Where are you at in the Bible today?
I am in 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 18 through, verse 8 through 18, where it says that, we're dragged and beaten and all that stuff, but we still stand strong with the Lord, even though all these things are happening to us. And I'm giving you like a synopsis of what I read this morning. But so yeah, definitely read that. Read that for yourself, because it's a great chapter. And oh man, it's just, I don't know, it's just, you just realize Paul had an encounter with Jesus Christ himself, the spirit on the side where Jesus came and made an appearance to Paul.
Wow, that overrode his senses, didn't it? It made him blind, didn't it?
Oh yeah. So he understood what blindness is. And then when he stood up, he groped around and said, "Hey, guide me to the city." So they took his hand and got him to the city, and he fasted for several days before he had that vision that was it Ananias came in and laid hands on him and said it's like scales fell from his eyes and boom. And then only then he knew what he needed to do, ate some food, and boom, he was off and running. So
that's absolutely right. I think the main thing there is before he went to meet Ananias, he was directed by the Lord to go ahead and meet with him, and he was obedient to what God gave him. And so, the bottom line is to always be in prayer, using that full armor of God, realizing that helmet of salvation, knowing that the Lord will literally, he's the ultimate downloader. So he'll download stuff into your mind. Here, go here, do this thing. Some of these thoughts that you have are not your own for sure. And they're from the adversary, or they're from God himself. The breastplate of righteousness also controls the protection of our heart. So if we're ever persecuted, that's where we get our strength from, is the breastplate of righteousness. That belt of truth, obviously, being that article of the armor that allows us to filter things through the cross and say, well, is this fake news or is this the real deal? Of course, we use the sword of the Spirit as the only offensive weapon we have. We have the word. And that's kind of what we're doing here. Whenever we get on to a topic of current events, we try to use the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God, to offensively go against the adversary. Never against humankind, never against somebody to divide our people, but always against that wily serpent, which is sometimes known of as the devil. She's the preparation of the gospel of peace, will also keep us from allowing for all of the stuff that's going on these days to get embroiled in things we don't want to get embroiled in. A lot of people are talking about Civil War and this, that, and the other. And no, we can't have that. We've got to, where at all possible, walk at peace with our fellow neighbor. And that's part of why we got to love our neighbor, just like we love ourselves. Do we fight with our own bodies? No, we don't fight with our own bodies. You know, we don't sit there and smack ourselves around. Well, maybe we do, but we shouldn't.
All right.
Shield of faith is important too.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely something that we have to. I mean, it takes time to really get that close to God, where we understand what He wants us to do. You got to be able to hear what He's saying, and sometimes you just got to have that. You got to have that quiet time. And
Yes.
so, hey, I mean, it's oh man, it is, and He will give you that peace that passes all understanding. I like that. I like that.
You, man,
So-
I really like that as well. We want to leave you with that peace that passes all understanding. Get into the Word. It's an awesome, awesome book. If nothing else, it's the greatest story ever told, man. And salvation, man. If you're of a mind, we urge that you get saved today. 1 Corinthians chapter 15 is where we find that, and the whole chapter is awesome. But I think I don't have my Bible in front of me. I think round about verse 51.
Yeah,
And you guys
definitely.
have yourself a good one. We'll talk tomorrow.
Oh yeah, man. See you guys tomorrow on the Innervision FM as we take it to the next level.